Are you in the process of trying to buy a house? Have you been trying to buy a house for a long time? What has your experience been like? What have you faced? Are there any easing of the challenges of getting a house? Are you running into less bidding wars? Here's an article in the Wall Street Journal about what it takes to buy your first home now, meaning that it might be different than what it was before. They talked to a bunch of people about the market when supply is thin, interest rates are going up, and there's still bidding wars, even though the price is higher. Let's look at a couple of the factors and see how this matches your experience. This couple that he talked to first is in North Georgia, a town called Canton, which is in Cherokee County. Beautiful little area, up 575 in North Georgia. And they were looking to spend about $350,000, which was a decent amount of money. And they quickly discovered that that's going to be a tough number to hit. They had a lease on their apartment that ended in July. The mortgage interest rate went up while they were house shopping, and they knew that they didn't want to keep looking. They wanted to lock it in. So they had 14 other buyers, and this was in May. This is last month. They paid $395 for a house that was listed for $359. So they paid 10% over for a house. This is after the interest rates went up. How did they handle that difference? Well, they had to borrow money from relatives and spend about $5,000 to buy down the mortgage rate. They still ended up paying close to $6,000. They took money out of their retirement account, and they were not happy with the timing, but there's not much they can do. Right? Houses don't stay on the market. This is May of 2022. After the interest rates went up, after home prices were up, there's still bidding wars because people are still out there trying to buy a house. And the amount they paid was right on track. The median existing home price was $400,000, almost exactly what they paid. And that's a record. Never been higher than that, even taking inflation into account. And here's the big problem with mortgages. Because the rates are higher and the prices are higher, it's becoming much more difficult to qualify, even buyers that have good credit, because of income requirements. Look, if your mortgage payment 2 years ago, 3 years ago, on a $350 house at 3% would have been maybe $1,800 or so, just a guess. Now at $400,000 at 6%, you might be up near $3,000 a month, or $2,800. Depending on your income, that might put you out of a debt-to-income ratio that the bank would approve. So it's putting more people out of the market. And here's a clue from a broker. Look, instead of having 15 or 20 offers on a house, we're seeing maybe 3 or 4 or 5, said a real estate agent in Honolulu. Look, it doesn't matter if there's 15 or 5. There's still extra buyers out there. It's still musical chairs. There's still more people than there are houses for sale. This couple took the opposite approach. They were trying to buy a $300,000 house. They went to open houses with 30 or 40 other shoppers. The interest rates went up. So they tried to bid on some houses, but they didn't succeed. So they decided to lease for another year. The question is, it's a risk. What happens if the prices go up even more? And that's a real risk because a lot of current owners, prospective sellers, are not wanting to sell their house. Because if you have a house now that you own with a mortgage, it's very difficult to imagine selling it because first you have to find another house and there's not many. Second, even if you do find one, now you have to pay a higher mortgage rate, which might defeat the whole purpose of moving in the first place. So you're probably going to stay put. That puts less inventory back into the marketplace. And even the Wall Street Journal says buyers who step back from the market could find it harder to save for a purchase. Inflation is going up, rent is going up, so it's tougher to put more money away for a down payment, and the prices are only going to be higher. Look, if you do the math and you hold off on a purchase for a year or two, and the house goes up 10% in a couple years, you are just chasing the market. You have to save up more money for a down payment, and your interest rate and mortgage payment is going to be higher. For a lot of people, a better option is buying a cheaper house that maybe isn't perfect, but at least gets you into home ownership, and then use that as a step-up tool later. There's many houses on the market at a lower price point that are maybe in slightly less appealing condition. 200, 250, in that range. You'll see them on our website, Homes Cheap. And a lot of these houses need a little fix up, paint, light maintenance, but it may be something you can get into. Let the house appreciate. Your down payment is in the house, and then later you can flip that into a step-up house and not be locked into renting and paying all your money to a landlord for the next 2 years.